back down here in the timber. We're ready to got the skid steers down here. We're going to take all these dead trees out of here and knock down some of the rest of them. Now, a key component to this is to be moving these trees. It's really soft in the spring. These trees will come out as easy as they're ever going to come out. You don't want to be trying to take out trees in August. You get in there right after the freeze thaw. A skid steer has a lot more success at taking them out. A lot less stress on the machine itself. So we're going to start cleaning this mess up and trying to get all these trees knocked down. We got to get this canopy off because we want to make sure we get plenty of sunlight in here. So let's get to work. And another thing, if you don't have the equipment, I understand not everybody has the equipment, and I'm not bragging in any sense of the form. I'm just trying to say you're going to have some equipment, big equipment, and then you're going to have to get down to your chainsaw, quite a few different little hand tools. All this stuff comes into play. Now, I suppose if you want to spend your money on tattoos and cigarettes, that same kind of money will be spent. But what I'm trying to say, if you're really going to be a food plotter, you're going to have to invest time and money. Anyhow, you're going to have some equipment, whether you buy it or rent it, or have somebody come in and do it for you. But either way, you can make small food plots, and I'm not saying that you can't. And I encourage you to do what you can do. But when you get into this higher end of food plots, you want to make plots where there's been nothing, then you're going to have to make the investment. Either having it subcontracted out, renting a machine, and trying to do it on your schedule, or, forego it. That's my definition of hinge cutting. If you don't have a machine, I can understand sawing some trees down and letting them fall down. But I'll argue the debate with any so-called expert that you're creating any kind of a bedding area for any white-tailed deer on a given day. Now, when I was a young buck and I was chasing the does, you know where my bed was? Wherever the doe's apartment building was. I didn't go back home to go to bed. I was chasing does. Same way as a wild buck. He ain't gonna come back and, oh, I gotta go back to my bedroom. And when you hinge cut, you think you're creating that. That's bullshit. That's all that is. That's some guy trying to glorify might as well be telling about the boogeyman sleeping under your bed. A white-tailed buck can bed down anywhere he wants to. And when you're considering the rut, he ain't gonna be where he was all summer. He might be 2 or 3 miles from that. In the wintertime, if he comes back in there, he's seeking shelter. But think of this. If you're out and about, are you looking for a bedding area or are you looking for a restaurant? And that's what we're creating. Restaurants and beer joints. That's where the boys are gonna hang out. Because the girls will be there. I used to sit at the last table by the restroom, the ladies' restroom, and watch all the does parade back by. That's where I'd put my bedding area at. The closest chair to the women's bathroom in the bar. That way you knew every doe that was in there. Sort of like checking a scrape. As far as hinge cutting, that don't do anything that other than makes a mess in your woods, grows up, gets some sunlight in there. But I can make more browse just by mowing and letting that new stuff grow. So to hell with hedge cutting, do it the Mealey way. Knock the trees down, plant the restaurant or the beer joint. That's where you're going to get the action at. Say, when I'm bashing that hinge cutting, I just don't see, I don't see any value in that because I'm surrounded by bedding areas. The only deer that I've ever hunted, some of you are probably pretty skeptical that I even hunted any deer in my life. Mule deer are 10 times more likely to bed in the same bed. You find a rock outcropping out in the sand hills, sandstone, where it's shaded up, the mule deer will come back on that open plains. It'll be a nice bed, a real bed underneath there. I know that personally. I've hunted mule deer. I know how that works. You can pattern them. You get in there if they're grazing on an irrigated field or find some place where they're coming through every morning. They're going to go to that same bed because it's hot out there. They're going to bed up high. They're going to get back in under that sandstone and shade up during the heat of the day. I can take you out and show you 50 mule deer beds in Wyoming. I can't show you one whitetail buck bed in Iowa because they're just not traditional. They go, I think it's sleepy time, I'm going to go to my bedroom. What it is, it's too many people are still humanated. You gotta be a wild man. Think like a wild man. I'm walking around the timber, I'm looking where would I bed down for tonight? Oh, that looks like a nice high spot out of the wind. But there's several spots like that the deer go to. So you're just fooling yourself if you think that white-tailed buck is gonna walk out and walk back and lay his little head on his pillow like some of this social media bullshit that's saying it happens. It don't. Especially during the hunting season. Remember, it don't matter if they're doing it in the middle of July or August. You ain't hunting them then anyway. But you're going to play hell to try to find one that's going to come back and have his little tutu bed made, and he's going to tuck himself in at daybreak. Ain't happening, Jack. Get in the real world, the wild world. See how big that root ball is? That's huge. That's all mud right there. I couldn't take that out in August or July. That's why it's so critical if you're going to do some timber clearing with smaller equipment. You've got to let nature work with you, not against you. If you'd have waited until July, this all ground would be hard panned up and you'd have a heck of a time. That's a huge root ball. Between the year, freeze-thaw has went through. You can get it out a whole lot easier. That was the last one. Saved the last one for the last. That 319D got the job done. Yeah, that big old oak. Those oaks are tough when they're dead. You never got that out alive. Not with my machine. But that's one. That was the last big tree that we're taking out. So, wow, that was a. Lucky the ground was moist, that's all I can say. Well, we've got it all the trees taken off now. We're down to the dirt. It's pretty wet. Still a lot of moisture in here. Good thing, because those were some big trees that we took out. But anyhow, we're just one more step closer. As black as this dirt can look, here again, it don't get any blacker than that. But that doesn't mean that it's ready to plant on. The biggest thing you can make the mistake right now is, like I've always said, before going to soil test. I got some dirt in the bucket down there. I'm going to take it up, put it in my envelopes, and get it off to the lab. Because I ain't going to spend all that time and then flip a coin. Because I guarantee you, there ain't never been nothing growing on this since mankind. So this is virgin dirt, top priority, but it's all bound up, and it's going to take some lime to get those nutrients loosened up and into it. Okay, here's what we had right here. All that marble furrow rows. These here hazelnuts. After last week, I see they started blooming. We'll leave that in here. But then when we pan over here, this is what's going to be the grocery store. You can't have enough. If you just sit on your duff and talk about it, that ain't going to happen. Get it cleaned off, and we'll get whitetail clover in here and create another dinner hall. And like I said, it's not about killing anything back here, folks. It's about putting nutrition into the deer herd that's around here, and chances are I probably won't kill anything in here other than my billfold. But anyhow, we got our soil sample in the bucket. We'll get it up there and let it rain on this, and then get back and till it up and try to figure out what kind of liming we're going to need.